entitled sister-in-law stole our baby name. Now she regrets it. Hey y'all, long-time lurker and all that. This is a throwaway account. To cut to the chase, my wife and I spent 4 years trying to get pregnant before the wrong side of 35. We are currently 33 respectively now and are blessed with a wonderful infant son. My wife has a younger half-sister that she has been LC with for some time. The woman is entitled and toxic and also her mother's golden child. We've refused to let her or my ML in the house since they both blatantly tried to make off with my wife's jewelry box a couple of years ago. The box contained a lot of valuable jewelry inherited from my wife's grandmother. Said jewelry is now in a safety deposit box as per my suggestion. My wife and I had nearly given up trying to conceive when it suddenly happened. And we were ecstatic. After we found out we were having a boy, we started looking into names. I ended up suggesting the name of my Scottish grandfather and my wife loved it. So that's the name we settled on. But we made the mistake of posting about it on social media. Well, no surprise to the stereotype in this mess, my SIL was pregnant too, and was months further along than my wife and also having a boy. She decided to claim my grandfather's name for her own son. And not just the first name but the middle name too. We called her pissed over what she was doing and she smugly told us there's nothing we can do about it. Which she was sorta right. There was nothing we could do about it legally as it's still not a crime to steal planned baby names. We realized that drama was exactly what my SIL wanted. And she thought that by taking the name for herself, we'd not be able to use it. I laughed and told her that while what she did was dirty and underhanded, we would keep our chosen name. And she could just deal with it whether she decides to go through with copying us or not. Well, my SIL's baby daddy called me and said I was an unreasonable dick for still wanting to use the name after SIL claimed it. I said she claimed nothing. And since we couldn't own the name, then neither could they. Before he ended the call, he threatened me by saying I'd be sorry if we didn't change the name. Then he hung up before I could respond. Months later, Estelle has a healthy baby boy and names him my grandfather's name. We did not show up for the birth, both because of the pandemic and because we simply didn't care to be there. SIL called us wanting congratulations, but we told her we simply didn't care, and that if she was still insisting we change our baby's name, then she'd be in for some big disappointment because we were not. SIL demanded I put my wife on the phone, but it was already on speaker and my wife spoke up and said she agrees with me entirely. We weren't changing the name. SIL hung up on us but soon started sending emails with text walls of names, even suggesting similar ones. I responded back that the name was from my grandfather and that's why we were not changing it. She shut up and we didn't hear from her again till after our own son was born. 2 months later we were blessed with our son. He came out perfect and we named him just as we'd intended. Well, no surprise, my SIL called us a few days after the birth to scream in our ears that we copied her son's name. I pointed out she was the real copycat since she had no familial ties to the name and we did. And anyone who looks at our family trees could see that. Then my wife spoke and said after the attempted theft of her grandmother's jewelry, she no longer considered SIL her sister, and would have nothing to do with her nephew either. For months we were bombarded with messages and emails from my wife's side of the family. Half were on our side after finding out the whole story, the other half were not. And SIL's baby daddy, true to his word, showed up at my door to make me sorry. I'm not sure what his plan was, but I pretty much towered over him. I'm 6 feet 1 inch and well built from regular exercise and 3 trips to the gym a week. He on the other hand was very skinny and about 5 feet 6 inches with a baby face that was badly hidden by a slim beard. I told him my house has cameras and to get off my property and never come back. He just yelled a few obscenities at me and drove off in his beat-up old car. SIL and MIL called us from a different number to yell at me for making SIL's baby daddy feel emasculated. I didn't even threaten the man. Just told him to leave and not come back. And if he didn't want to feel emasculated, then he shouldn't have come knocking. Then they tried to bring up the issue of the baby name again and demanded we change our son's name as he's so young. So there's still plenty of time to do it. We held our ground and told them that they were bonkers to still think they were in the right after they copied our choice of name just to try and get one over on us. I said SIL didn't even name her son out of love but out of spite just to try and stick it to my wife for no good reason. Then my wife called them both out on the way she was treated growing up, how entitled SIL and ML have always been, and how she was glad to leave them far behind. And she wants nothing from them and they won't have anything from us. That left SIL sobbing and MIL called me a royal bastard before hanging up the phone. That was NC again for a little while till SIL called us again some time later to bitterly tell us we'd won. She and her baby daddy got in a huge fight and he left. He was apparently very sore that Estelle didn't let him even give their son a middle name from his family. And he said he was sick of the bullshit and wanted his son named after him and not some guy he wasn't even related to. Estelle finally caved and they got the boy's birth certificate reissued with a completely new name, which cost Estelle around $500 or so she claims. Estelle then demanded we at least compensate her for the name change plus another $100 for the emotional damage as now she's going to have to get used to calling her son by a different name. We laughed and said this would have never happened if she hadn't stolen our baby name to begin with and we didn't owe her anything. Since then we've been NC with Estelle and Emile. But my FL, who's a very nice man and divorced from Emile for obvious reasons, would come by often and loves his grandson. From what he and other relatives told us, the situation between Estelle and her baby daddy was pretty tumultuous. But we don't care. Not our monkeys, not our circus.